Quake Live. It's very popular, and the setup you have for it is pretty much groundbreaking. A new style of doing competitive gaming. Do you see other titles following this, maybe even outside of id? With Doom and Wolfenstein, you kind of set the stage for first-person shooters, and now you're taking it to the next step with competitive. Do you see other companies following this idea?
Well, I mean, I think it is interesting. So, because like Quake 3 was kind of like the very first game within sort of the competitive game genre, right? Which is basically Quake 3, even the single player was a simulation of deathmatch or multiplayer. And one of the reasons why we used that as the base for Quake Live is because we really felt like that the gameplay balance, the fundamental aspects of what Quake 3 were all about were just this perfect balance of weapons and skill and speed and tactics and you know, hand-eye coordination, ability and all that stuff, to where really this whole notion of gaming is a sport, and it's not about like, you know, farming metal for hours and hours until, you know, just see how much time you can spend on something. That it is something that is, you know, actually based. Quake 3 is, if you win, it's based on skill, not based that you're a level 32 mage or something like that, right? So Quake Live is an extension of that from the standpoint of sort of the professional gaming aspect of it, which is that we basically just make it this pure, where it's the better player will win. If you know the map better, you have these better skills, then you should, if you're playing against somebody of inferior skills, you should win. There's no trick or secret banana you throw out the back of your Mario Kart that spins someone out at the last second, and then then somebody else wins or whatever. I mean, it is a play balanced game. So and when Quake 3 came out, then there were, you know, Unreal Tournament and other stuff, so there were games that followed on that. I don't know if Quake Live will have imitators. I think that probably that will in large part depend upon how successful Quake Live is. And it's still, you know, honestly, at this point we're still in the experimental phase. I mean, we feel like that, you know, we've done enough testing that we at least have a pretty good hypothesis that we're going to test, but it's not a theory yet.
The Bethesda partnership, as John Carmack said yesterday, is pretty much a nerd's dream. You've got, you know, amazing first-person shooters with id and all the wonderful games that Bethesda does. Do you ever see a future collaboration on a game between the two companies?
Probably not. I mean, will we swap stuff back and forth where it makes sense? Absolutely. But will we work together on some new kind of game or something like that? I don't see it happening because, you know, Todd Howard and his group at Bethesda Game Studios are just too damn good at what they do. And really, I mean, we do, I mean, in my opinion, do the best first-person shooter games. And those are what, it's not only good at it, we like to do it. I think it's the same thing is true with Todd and his team. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, don't mess with the Coke formula. And just keep it the way it is. You know, have new Coke and classic Coke. Just, you know, just.
Now, Rage. Even though it is a different game with the new partnership and such, it's likely going to be compared with Fallout 3 a lot. Just because they're both post-apocalyptic and they're completely different games, but there's still that kind of combination there. Did you ever work with, after the merger, did y'all work with Bethesda, just kind of get an idea of how to create the post-apocalyptic feel that they had, or did you just kind of go with your own?
No, ours was set well before we even started having any discussions about that stuff. So, yeah, the look and feel of the game, I wouldn't say was influenced by Fallout 3. I mean, I think that if you started putting all the games that were post-apocalyptic and said all these games are pretty similar, there would be a whole lot of games that fall into that. But I mean, for us, it was a fiction that we thought created an interesting story. It's something that provided a good setting for the gameplay that we thought that we could exploit with the technology and with the things that we wanted to do within the game. And so that's sort of the background behind, hey, this is why you did that. And then we got great artists that can do art like that, and that is just, you know, I mean, literally that like captures in a picture kind of like the 3-second synopsis of the game through your eyes.
What can you tell us about the story of Rage and kind of what the focus of it is?
Well, so the background of Rage is that basically, a comet hits the Earth, or big meteor, and sort of the thought is that it's going to extinguish life on the surface of the planet. So governments come together and basically say, okay, well, we've got to think about survival as species, so we're going to put, all these people in these arcs, bury them under the surface. When, after the cataclysm, then the arcs come back up and society reseats itself, right? Well, so things don't really go as planned. You have people who have their own agendas. The surface of the planet isn't completely destroyed. People actually survive, which was unplanned. And then, so then somebody comes in and says, oh, well, hey, I know the keys to where all the important people are. I'll pick who I want to come out first. And, we'll be able to control the world and do it my way. Well, you as a player in the game come up sort of out of an arc unexpectedly and unscheduled by the authority, and basically you come to a world that was not the way it was supposed to be when you went underground in the arc, and you're the only survivor that's left in yours because basically an earthquake damages it and you're the only one who survives it. So you wake up, you confront this world. There are people who have been mutated by what's going on with the meteor impact. There's a government that's trying to control things. There are settlers who are trying to sort of live free, and here you're the man who is the outsider come to kind of put things to right.
Sounds awesome. Thank you for being with us. Can we expect to see you at the party elevator this year?
Well, we will see. I think we've had a few good parties at Quakecon this year already. We've got one of the great things about just Quakecon this year is that in addition to the bands that we had last night, we've got Master Pancake, who are going to be spoofing Lord of the Rings tonight, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow night for the tournament final. So in addition to giving away a bunch of cash, a hot rod Ford Mustang 540 horsepower, a Shelby Cobra GT 500. We're going to have this guy who's a beatboxer in Live Looper, Kid Beyond, which probably not a lot of people have heard of, but they will remember him after the show on Saturday. So if kudos to me if I survive it all the rest of the week.
Well, thank you for being here, Todd.
All right, thanks a lot.